This morning at approximately 7:41 a.m., the Pella Police Department was alerted to a situation involving a student at Pella Middle School who was reportedly armed with a knife. Officers quickly responded to the scene, and within 2 minutes, we were able to secure the scene and place one juvenile into custody. An initial investigation determined that a 14-year-old student at Pella Middle School used a knife to assault multiple students who were in the cafeteria at the time. 2 students sustained minor laceration type injuries but did not require medical transport from the scene. Pella ambulance personnel were on site to treat these injured students and also assist with reunification with parents. Additionally, Crisis Canines Nitro and Walter were deployed to help calm students as a result of the incident. In response to the situation, Pella Middle School was placed on lockdown, while emergency responders and school staff conducted a thorough search of the building and began to notify parents. This remains an ongoing investigation, and authorities will continue to gather and process evidence. And we are currently working with the county attorney regarding the appropriate charges for this incident. We can take a few questions if you'd like. Yes, sir.
Has a possible motivation been determined in the incident?
We're speaking with the juvenile with his parents present, and we don't have any additional information as of yet. Yes, sir.
Chief, can you tell us how old the students were that were stabbed and had those injuries?
I don't have the exact information for you regarding that. We're still trying to determine not only the injured students, but also trying to identify others who were also assaulted, but maybe not injured.
Yes, just a question real quick. Do you know how the parents were notified about the incident?
I would like to defer that question to Superintendent Evelyn.
Yes, so we have a system that's we have a parent notification system. It's called Blackboard, and we sent that out pretty much immediately this morning. And then there was 2 other notifications that happened after that. So probably the first one was by around 8 o'clock, and then there was a couple more after that, I think up until even 9:40 this morning. So as we knew more information, we put out a little more detail about, of course, the types of injuries that happened versus, because of course a lot of things would get spread pretty fast, and so that was done with a very short order.
Since it happened at 7:41, had school started yet, and what were the kids doing in the cafeteria? And was this a night from the cafeteria or on the suspect brought himself?
Yeah, so our school doesn't start until after 8 o'clock at the middle school, and so this is kind of as students are arriving to school. Now we do have morning practices and those types of things that happen at our middle school and across the district in the morning. So, but this was before school started. It was not a night from the cafeteria. It was something we were presuming that was brought from home.
Are these all students who are involved in athletics?
I don't think they probably were, because otherwise they would have been more like in the locker room areas or the gymnasiums. So these were kids that were probably just dropped off for the day waiting for school to start, and that happens usually. Our school opens up at about 7:30 in the morning, so it was obviously soon after that.
It's our understanding that students evacuated or ran to a safe place nearby. How important is it to have that place for kids to go to where they feel safe in a situation like this?
Yeah, it's, I mean, we obviously do a lot of safety drills at our school, and we have a run, hide, fight mentality that we have with our students. And certainly this was a case where initially in the lockdown situation, they were locked down. We were planning on releasing them, and then the school was still being swept by police. And so at that point in time, it was, no, don't come back into the school. So it was that the kids said, oh, maybe there's still danger. And then they kind of ran out of the building. And we do have a relationship next door with a church in town, Third Church. That's a a big venue right next to our middle school and our Jefferson building, and that is kind of a location where students can go in those types of situations, and we would have the same thing on any kind of a safety situation, that building's kind of an alternative for us if we need it.
Greg, to clarify, it was a student decision to go to Third Church, or was there staff involved in that?
No, it was a student decision, yeah, that they decided to actually leave the building, and the students went to Third Church, so that really wasn't our staff decision. Our staff was just to keep them in the gym at that point in time, because again, they're not really in classrooms at that point of the day. They're actually in more of the common area, common spaces. And so it was really to get them into that big common space, because there weren't necessarily a teacher in every classroom just for them to naturally go to.
And how were parents notified that they were at the church? Because I saw many that were coming up to the church, some were going to school looking for them.
Yeah,
How was that situated?
and I'm guessing most of the kids notified their parents themselves when they went to the church. We notified that there was the incident, and then of course allowed students to go home with parents, and we believe that 3/4 of our students in the middle school did go home today. We probably have less than 100 students in the building right now. Still some of them are there, and so it's obviously not an academic environment right now. It's more of a environment to support students and staff, and that's where that'll probably be for the rest of the week. And it's just, we're obviously always concerned about kind of the residual after these types of incidences, and how we can support students and staff through that.
You know how many students were in the area when it happened?
Yeah, so looking at the video, I mean, it was a handful. I would say it was probably less than 25 students total in that space, and we have about 370 students in that building.
So 2 students were cut, but there are other students that were likely assaulted. By assault, we're talking punched, anything like that?
Yeah, so I think just by watching the incident, that's a form of assault, having to view that. And so I would say there's lots of kids affected by that in terms of actually physically punched. I mean, it was kind of limited to those same students in terms of other. So it's how you want to define assault, I guess, but it's certainly the experience of that certainly is assaulting.
Is this going to have any impact on travel to tomorrow night's championship football game that the school is going to provide?
No, I wouldn't see it would change any of that. I mean, we still have pep buses that are planning to go to the championship game, and we'll have chaperones on those buses.
And again, how big, what was the size of the knife? Like, was it easy for him to sneak in? Was it like a tiny pocket knife?
Yeah, so the knife had some size. It was like a kitchen knife. We would more describe it like a bread knife.
Chief, are you getting any assistance from Iowa DCI, anything like that?
We did request some assistance from our local partners here in Marion County, really with just kind of helping, the parent unification process. It takes a lot of individuals to work a scene like this, and sometimes you just need those extra bodies. We were able to call in some of our officers to help assist with witness gathering and statements and some of the things that happen after, everything is kind of secured. DCI is not involved with this case at this point, but if we should need them for any reason, we obviously reach out to those.
You
Have
mentioned,
you encountered this student before, or had any other trouble with him in the past?
The student was charged with assault back in February by the Pella Police Department. It was an assault charge causing bodily injury. That's about all I can release regarding the charge.
and you said you're working with the county attorney. Is there a possibility this young man's tried as an adult? Is that too early to determine?
Still too early to determine. So, we want to be careful in our deliberation and what the actual incident was. So we don't want to rush any, charges that may not be appropriate, but we also want to make sure that our investigation drives those charges.
The suspect was charged with assault back in February. Was that an incident on school grounds or incident somewhere else?
He assaulted a school counselor.
Do we know any information about what led up to this?
We don't at this point. We are obviously working those angles to try and figure out, what was the catalyst of this. We are looking at other investigative means through search warrants, not necessarily to a home or residence, to try and, pull out as much information as we possibly can, develop a timeline if possible, and figure out maybe what was going on hours or even days before.
The two victims were cut, can you tell us where the body was cut, arm?
I'm not going to release that.
The video that Greg referenced earlier, does that indicate that the suspect was talking to those injured for a long time or very long, or how long were they talking?
We do have very good video. I'm not going to be able to release any of those details at this point, mainly because of the juveniles and the several victims involved in that. I can tell you that the suspect did not just walk in and commence activity. It appears that he had been sitting there at least for some time. We are working again to figure out what that timeline is and to learn more about the suspect's path of travel. Not only when he got there, but again, hours or even days before this attack.
Was there any kind of altercation or argument between the victims and the suspect before this happened?
Not that we could tell right now.
I have a question for the superintendent. Does the school have metal detectors? If not, is that something that you're going to look for, possibly?
Yes, schools are certainly very soft places before and after school. They just are. We do not have any metal detectors in our system. Currently, we have a school resource officer that we partner with the school, with the city on, have done that for several years. It certainly brings up those thoughts in our minds about what could we do more, and I think we always ask ourselves that, and we'll want to continue to ask ourselves that question. Traditionally schools have not, at least in our size and smaller, have had those types of things. So I know you would see some of the schools in the metro area probably have those things. We haven't in the past. Doesn't mean that we won't. Certainly it could be an investment, but it would also take personnel to make those things happen. So then at each door or entry into the building, several years ago, we did some facility remodel about having secure entries, and that was a big deal for our system, and we went through and put those all in place. So we have secure entries, but during those before and after school hours are when it's the softest. And so the question will obviously be one of those things where, are there other kinds of improvements? You'd have to have staff to staff those in the morning, a way to, look at those types of things. And certainly we're just in a different day and age with school safety, and so we certainly, all these things give us feelings when we have our own kids and grandkids and things that are in schools every day, and we're obviously safety becomes really important to us. So I can never say never, because quite frankly, it's one of those things where we just start living in a different age.
Notwithstanding all of those precautions you just talked about, what has your training shown that, what can you do to make the kids feel safe and their parents feel safe in returning to school like tomorrow or Monday? Yeah, it's, certainly having kids talk to people about those incidences, helping them understand, that when I see something that looks dangerous, I say something. This felt pretty random, out of the blue act, unfortunately. So there wasn't like an obvious, he was sitting there with a knife, playing with a knife, and then it happened. So it was, it's just, those are the types of things that we want kids to be safe. We want them to, if they have concerns, bring those to our attention. And we have, anonymous ways of providing tips to the school, all those things in place. And we have kids that do that. But it's certainly, we're always vulnerable. I feel like schools are always vulnerable. We're soft targets, and that's why you see nationally that schools are just a soft target.
Do you know when the attack stopped? I know we're still working on timelines, but do you know when it started, when it stopped, and who stopped it exactly?
Yeah, so our staff performed amazingly. We actually had a teacher in our middle school, a female teacher. She's actually one of our girls' wrestling coaches, and she's a weightlifter gal, strong gal, and literally has dealt with kids with behaviors and just really talked him down.
Is the suspect the same student who a few months ago got a press release about someone bringing a weapon?
No, not the same student. That was at the high school. Yep.
Can you reveal the name of the teacher?
I hesitate to do that just because I know she'll get a lot of attention around it. So I really am not comfortable doing that without talking to her about that. But she's certainly our staff at the middle school. So she was able to talk to the student outside, and another staff member was able to, actually talk to the student more outside. And so fortunately that ended about as good as it possibly could without having to physically subdue someone. That's a different place when you have to do that versus a student actually willingly gives up.
Did the suspect and victim know each other?
We're a small school, so certainly, saying that they don't know each other is almost impossible. Were they like friends or something? And obviously they were within proximity, but again, it's kind of a random group of kids that are at the school at a certain time of the day based upon when their parents drop them off or how they get to school. Most of our buses don't get to school that early, so these are all kids that would have came and been dropped off school by parents earlier in the day versus school transportation.
Greg, the school has invested quite a bit in the last couple of years in behavioral health, this year even mental health. Are those resources going to be coming into play this week? Are AEA assistants? How are the students who are coming back, especially at the middle school, going to be taken care of?
Yeah, they really are. We know mental health is a really important topic in Iowa, across the state, and certainly with our students, it's really, really important. We have invested some additional dollars in creating some mental health resources for our students. They will come into play. We usually work with parents on that to get kids those kinds of resources and help that are needed. So certainly that can be a part of it. Also, our own school counselors will be a part of that. We also rely on our faith community as well. We have a lot of people that mobilize during hard times. We've had hard things before, and usually we mobilize around that. The AEA is certainly also a resource for us, and they'll provide people. So they have kind of a crisis team that also gets mobilized for these types of situations. So again, you're trying to give kids options, try to get back to some sense of normal, and knowing that we want kids to still be able to process it, that need processing, because certainly experiencing it in different ways will be hard.
Superintendent, you said there's still less than 100 students that are in the school. You said it's going to be a safe place probably for the rest of the week. Does that mean that classes are probably going to be canceled? It's just going to stay like that?
No, we won't cancel classes. We'll try to get back into some academic things, and I mean, it's an interesting dynamic. He mentioned the state football championship that we're playing on Thursday. So we've already got a lot of stuff happening in the system right now, and so which will distract us away from academics. But we do want to get back to some sense of normal with kids, and certainly kids that need processing will be pulled out of class, but we'll try to have classes as early as tomorrow, and with normal academic schedules and those types of things, and then focus on the kids that need extra support. So again, they'll have to identify and say, I'm not feeling good right now, or I need somebody to talk to, and then we'll provide that to them.
Is that impacting any of the other buildings?
Right now, no. We did have some parents, of course, at other buildings, because of family connections, want their sibling to come home, which I completely understand, and we supported that. We're trying to do business as usual as much as possible at the other buildings.
Is it 5th through 8th grade that you guys have at the middle school? Because I know, where I went to school in Minnesota, it was 6th through 8th grade, but I know districts are all different.
Yeah, so we have an interesting configuration. All schools are different. Our configuration is just 7th and 8th grade in the middle school. So we have two pre-K, well, we actually have a preschool building now, which is called our Early Learning Center. It's the program's called a Little Dutch Academy. And so those are all our preschool kids. And then we do K through 3 in 2 separate buildings. 4-6 is all in the same building, which is kind of on that same complex as the middle school. And we're actually attaching the 2 buildings with kind of a 6th grade in between, and then 7 and 8 is just in that middle school building. So, and then our high school is 9-12. So that's our structure.
So for 100 kids or so still who stayed in school, it's just kind of school as normal?
Well, you know, for today, it's not school as normal, because obviously if you have 370 kids and only less than 100 are there, their classes are probably, I mean, they're more processing, you know, things and being supported. And certainly we had a lot of parents that came and picked up their children. So we're not going to push forward with academic things today, that's for sure. But we'll still serve lunch. Wednesdays are our early out days anyway, so school is actually dismissed 90 minutes early today anyway. So that's for all students in the district. So it's a little bit, so everybody's out early regardless, just on a normal planned early out.
For the student that was charged with assaulting counsel in February, did he get expelled at the end of last season and then reinstated at the beginning of this school year?
No, I'm not aware that there was any well, I know there was not any expulsion. And again, you know, we do have students at times that are behavior students in our system throughout that have certain incidences. And I'm sure there was a suspension at the time, but in terms of, it's really kind of the aggressiveness with things that happen around those, so it's really kind of case by case, and when you look at that stuff, but there wasn't any expulsion at that time.